Coronation Stone in Kingston upon Thames in southwest London. It's where the first 7 Saxon kings of England were crowned, and it's what gives this area its royal connection. It's the Royal Borough of Kingston upon Thames. Hi, I'm Paul Pickhaver and I lead City Changer Projects, which is part of Doxa Deo Community Church here in London. Last year when the Queen died, a number of people wrote cards and gave gifts to the royal family in memory of the Queen. And King Charles III decided to give all those gifts, together with his own donation, to one UK charity. He gave it to the Fuelbank Foundation. It's a charity that we are part of as City Changer Projects here in Kingston. We started it as a pilot here some years ago. 12 years ago here in Kingston, we set up something called Kingston Foodbank to help people who were just struggling financially and couldn't put enough food on the table. There was a young man who came for help at that food bank, who also told us he couldn't pay for the gas and electricity at his home. And we discovered that people were struggling with these eating and heating. How could they make both work? And we went to spend some time with that young man, cleaned up his flat, and had a conversation, discovered that he was in arrears with his energy company. And we tried to get him some help to get his debts written off. And actually the energy company said no. And it led to me writing them to say that there were some things that were unfair. It seemed like he was paying far more per unit for his gas and electricity than I was, because he couldn't pay by direct debit. He was having to pay as the bills came. In the winter months, he was paying really high bills. And so I wrote a letter to the chief exec of that energy company, one of the biggest energy companies in the UK. And I got a reply. And the reply told me that they were doing some good things they thought to help people who were struggling, but that we'd raised some important points and could we start a conversation. That resulted in me inviting them to come to Kingston, come and meet this young man, come and see what we were doing about food and was there something we could do with fuel. That conversation led to a pilot being agreed to start here in Kingston. And so in April 2015, we gave away the very first energy voucher under something then called Empower Fuelbank. That energy company set up a charitable foundation and asked if I would go and speak at its launch to see how this could grow from not just being a local pilot, but a national project. Today, the Fuelbank Foundation is the only UK charity that gives crisis support to families who are struggling with prepayment meters, paying as you go. And they've given away millions and millions of pounds. And yet it all started here just because we went to meet the needs of one person. You know, our starting point in this whole thing wasn't to set up some big national program of things that would attract millions of pounds and change situations for people right across this country. Hundreds of thousands of people have had help. Actually, all we wanted to do was to show love for one person. Actually, to go and help someone clear their flat. Actually, the outcome I'd have wanted really was just to have that one person's 600 bill debt written off. And that's all we did. We went on that journey just to see if that could happen. And yet we saw so much more happen. We didn't wait for something to be big before we started doing it. We just started with a small thing. Let's write one letter. Let's help one person. And we saw some incredible things happen. I think that showed for us what God is like. We just move and show love, and he just comes and shows his love. And that's always so much more. One of the things we did at a point is we made a video for the energy company so they could tell the story to their staff. I think it cost them £20,000. It wasn't a bigger sum of money for them. And all their staff, 600 people, got to hear the story. The next year they did their staff satisfaction survey and their stats went through the roof. They'd never had reports about how well they were doing as a company from their staff until they told the story of what that company was doing for some of the poorest people. One of the amazing things for me, you know, was that first day I would go to someone's house, they're struggling and just went to clean a flat. And yet when this project had launched, it was recognised by the Prime Minister and by the Queen. And I found myself invited to a palace to receive an award in recognition for this project. And yet it started so small, I'd never seen it could go to what it became. It's amazing what God does when he would just move and take action with the things that we have. We see something that we think, this isn't right, this isn't fair, this seems wrong. What does it look like when God shows up and he begins to put things right? And we talk and dream about seeing cities transformed and communities transformed by love. I think through this story of Fuelbank, we just saw that happen. And so today we are still part of that. Every week through the projects we run here, we're able to give away a voucher, a very simple thing. It doesn't matter which energy company those people are with. They get £50, they're able to go home, and the lights are back on, the heating is back on, they can cook the food that we've given them. Often those moments are tears because people don't know it's happening. And so we're just so thankful to God that we have in our hands now these tools to help, give real practical help, knowing that this is something God has opened for us to be able to do, and we can show His love in these practical ways.
Mr. Paul Pickhaver, for services to the Foodbank and to the community in Kingston upon Thames.
I think one of the most important aspects of an investiture is to be able to reward in a suitable way the selfless service and dedication of so many of these remarkable people. People who've dedicated their lives in all sorts of sort of unseen areas. I'm aware, only too aware, that for the vast majority of people who come to investiture, it is a very important moment in their lives when they've been given an honour and a reward and a thank you for all the marvellous things they've done.